Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something real today. Not motivational quotes, not fancy words, but truth. At some point in your life, you have to wake up. Not from sleep, but from comfort, from excuses, from waiting on someday. Because someday is not a day on the calendar. Someday is a lie we tell ourselves to feel better about not moving today. Let me tell you something straight up. Because somebody needs to hear this today. You cannot change your life without first changing your mindset. I don't care how much talent you have, how many opportunities are around you, or how badly you want it. If your mind stays the same, your life will stay the same. Everything you see around you right now started as a thought. Your house was a thought. Your job was a thought. Your struggle was a thought. Your breakthrough is also a thought, but you've got to let it live long enough to grow. Most people are defeated in their mind long before life ever knocks them down. You talk yourself out of blessings before they even reach you. You say things like, I'm not smart enough. I don't have connections. People like me don't win. And what you don't understand is this life is always listening. What you keep saying, you keep becoming. If you wake up every day thinking small, playing small, expecting little, guess what you're going to get? Exactly that. Your mindset determines what you allow, what you tolerate, and what you chase. If you believe you deserve less, you will settle for less. If you believe struggle is normal for you, you will stay struggling. But the moment you change the way you see yourself, everything around you starts shifting. Not overnight, not magically, but steadily. Because now your decisions are different. Your effort is different. Your patience is different. You can't keep blaming your past for a future you haven't even tried to build. Yes, things happened to you. Yes, life was unfair. Yes, people disappointed you. But at some point, you've got to stop using your story as a prison and start using it as fuel. Your past is not your excuse, it's your qualification. You survived it, which means you're stronger than you think. A changed mindset means you stop seeing problems as stop signs and start seeing them as lessons. Every setback has a setup in it, but you won't see it if your mind is stuck in defeat. You've got to train your mind to say, this is hard, but I can handle hard. Growth starts the moment you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Let me tell you something else. Your mind will try to protect you by keeping you comfortable. Comfort feels safe, but comfort kills dreams. A new mindset understands that discomfort is temporary, but regret lasts forever. You've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you want something different. When you change your mindset, you stop waiting for permission. You stop needing approval. You stop comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. You move at your pace, but you don't stop moving. You start believing that if God brought you this far, He didn't do it to leave you. Change your mindset, and you change your conversations. Change your conversations, and you change your actions. Change your actions, and your life has no choice but to follow. Let me talk to you about fear, because fear has stopped more dreams than lack of money, lack of education, or lack of opportunity ever could. Fear is a liar. Fear shows up dressed as logic, dressed as caution, dressed as being realistic, but all it's really doing is keeping you exactly where you are. And the reason fear is so powerful is because it speaks in your own voice. It sounds like you. It knows your past. It reminds you of every time you failed, every time you got embarrassed, every time something didn't work out. Fear will tell you, what if it doesn't work? But it never asks you, what if it does? Fear will have you overthinking, second-guessing, and hesitating until opportunity walks right past you. You keep saying you're waiting for the right time, but fear is the one holding the clock. And the truth is, there is no perfect time. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll be waiting your whole life. Now let me tell you something about faith. Faith is not the absence of fear. Faith is moving forward even when fear is sitting right next to you. Faith is saying, I'm scared, but I'm going anyway. Faith is trusting God when you don't have all the answers, all the money, or all the support. If you had everything lined up, you wouldn't need faith in the first place. Most people want guarantees before they move. They want proof before they try. But faith doesn't work like that. Faith works in steps. You take one step and the next one appears. You don't get the whole picture. You get just enough light for the next move. And that's where fear tries to stop you, right at the edge of the unknown. Fear wants you to stay safe. Faith wants you to grow. Fear says, stay where you are. At least you know this pain. Faith says, there's more for you, but you've got to trust me. And let me be clear, playing it safe has cost more people their destiny than taking a risk ever did. Every successful person you admire had to face fear. The difference is, they didn't let fear make their decisions. They felt it and moved anyway. They failed and got back up anyway. They were talked about, doubted, laughed at, and they kept going anyway. Fear doesn't disappear when you level up, it just changes forms. But so does your faith if you keep exercising it. You don't build faith by sitting still. Faith grows when you step out. When you do something that scares you and you survive it, your confidence grows. You start realizing, maybe I'm stronger than I thought. That's how fear loses its grip. Let me tell you this, the size of your life will always match the size of your faith. Small faith, big faith, expanded life. You can't live a big life while making decisions based on fear. At some point, you've got to choose. Either fear is going to run your life, or faith is. And whichever one you feed the most is the one that's going to win. Let me remind you of something you might have forgotten along the way. Your current situation is not your final destination. Where you are right now is not a life sentence. It's a moment, a season, a chapter, but it is not the whole book. Too many people look at where they are today and decide that's all they'll ever be. They let temporary circumstances make permanent decisions, and that's one of the biggest mistakes you can make. See, life has a way of convincing you that what you're experiencing right now is all there is. When you're struggling, it feels like struggle is your identity. When you're broke, it feels like broke is your name. But those are conditions, not definitions. You are not what you're going through. You are what you're growing into, whether you can see it yet or not. Every delay has a purpose. Every setback is shaping something in you. You might think you're being held back, but sometimes you're being prepared. If God gave you everything you asked for before you were ready, it would crush you. So instead, life stretches you. It builds patience. It builds character. It builds strength. And none of that feels good while it's happening. The problem is, most people quit right before the turn. They quit because they think nothing is changing, when in reality everything is changing beneath the surface. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean progress isn't happening. Roots grow underground before anything shows above the soil. And if you pull up too soon, you kill what was about to grow. You've got to stop measuring your future by your current bank account, your current job title, or your current circumstances. Those things are not permanent unless you decide to make them permanent. Life responds to persistence. When you keep showing up, keep trying, keep learning, something has no choice but to shift. A lot of people get stuck because they compare their timeline to somebody else's. They see someone winning and think they're behind. But you don't know what they went through to get there, and you don't know what they skipped that you might need to learn. Your journey is custom made for you. What looks like a delay might actually be protection. There are lessons you can only learn in the middle, in the waiting, in the not yet. And if you miss those lessons, you'll repeat the season. That's why some people feel like they're stuck in a loop. Same problems, different year. Not because life is punishing them, but because they haven't grown past what the season is trying to teach. You have to believe there is more ahead even when you can't see it. Belief keeps you moving when logic says stop. Hope keeps you working when results are slow. And the moment you stop believing your situation can change is the moment it becomes permanent. You are not finished. Your story is still being written. As long as you're breathing, there is another chapter waiting. You may be in the middle of the storm, but storms don't last forever. They pass. And when they do, you'll look back and realize that what you thought was the end was actually the beginning of something greater. Let me tell you why so many people are tired, frustrated, and burned out, even though they work hard every single day. It's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't try. It's because they're working without vision. Hard work without vision will wear you out. It will drain you. It will make you question why you even started in the first place. When you don't know where you're going, every struggle feels pointless. You can grind from sunup to sundown, but if you don't have a clear picture of where you're headed, all you're doing is surviving, not building. Vision is what gives meaning to pain. Vision is what explains why you're willing to wake up early, stay up late, and sacrifice things other people enjoy. Without vision, struggle feels like punishment. With vision, struggle feels like preparation. A lot of people quit not because the work is too hard, but because they don't see a reason for the work. They're tired of suffering without understanding. When you don't have vision, every setback feels personal. Every delay feels unfair. But when you have vision, you start saying, this is part of the process. You don't enjoy the struggle, but you understand it. Vision is what keeps you steady when results are slow. Because let me tell you something real, success is rarely fast. It's slow, it's quiet, and it's lonely. And if you don't know what you're building toward, you'll give up in the slow season. Vision allows you to keep moving even when nobody's watching, clapping, or encouraging you. Most people are exhausted because they're reacting to life instead of directing it. They wake up responding to problems, bills, opinions, and emergencies. Vision changes that. Vision puts you in charge. It tells you what to say yes to and, more importantly, what to say no to. Without vision, you say yes to everything and everyone, and you end up drained with nothing to show for it. Vision doesn't mean you know every step. It means you know the destination. You don't need the whole map, you just need direction. When you know where you're going, confusion decreases. Doubt doesn't disappear, but it loses control. You stop quitting every time things get hard, because you understand that difficulty is part of anything worth having. Let me say this clearly, vision will demand sacrifice. You can't have a big vision and a small commitment. Something has to go. Some habits have to change. Some people won't understand you anymore. But that's the price of growth. Vision forces you to grow into the person who can handle what you're asking for. A lot of people say they want more, but they're not willing to see more. Vision starts in the imagination. If you can't see yourself living better, doing better, becoming better, you won't pursue it consistently. Vision stretches your thinking beyond survival into purpose. It moves you from just paying bills to building a life. When you have vision, even failure looks different. You don't see it as the end, you see it as feedback. You ask, what did this teach me? Instead of, why did this happen to me? Vision keeps you from quitting too early because you understand that success is built on lessons learned, not on perfection. Hard work is necessary, but vision is essential. Hard work is the engine, but vision is the steering wheel. Without vision, you're moving fast but going nowhere. With vision, even slow progress feels powerful because you know you're headed somewhere meaningful. And when you know where you're going, you can endure almost anything it takes to get there. Let me tell you something about failure that most people never learn because they're too busy running from it. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. You don't get to the top without tripping, falling, and sometimes landing flat on your face. Anybody who tells you they made it without failing is either lying to you or selling you something. See, the reason failure hurts so bad is because we make it personal. We don't say, I failed. We say, I am a failure. And that right there is the mistake. Failure is an event, not an identity. It's something that happened, not who you are. But if you let it define you, it will paralyze you. It will convince you to stop trying, stop dreaming, and stop believing you're capable of more. Most people don't actually fail out of life. They quit. They quit after one bad experience, one rejection, one embarrassment, one moment where things didn't go as planned. But let me tell you something real. Success is built on a pile of failures nobody talks about. The only difference between people who make it and people who don't is perseverance. Failure is a teacher. It shows you what doesn't work. It exposes weaknesses you didn't know you had. It humbles you. And humility is necessary for growth. If you won every time, you'd never learn discipline, patience, or resilience. Failure sharpens you. It toughens you. It prepares you for the level you say you want to reach. A lot of people say they want success, but they don't want the pain that comes with becoming successful. You can't separate the two. Pain is part of the package. Disappointment is part of the package. Setbacks are part of the package. And if you're not willing to go through them, then you're not really asking for success, you're asking for comfort. Let me say this clearly. Failing doesn't mean you weren't meant to win. It means you tried, and trying is something most people never do. They stay on the sidelines, criticizing, judging, and wishing, but never stepping into the arena. Failure only visits those who have the courage to attempt something bigger than where they are. Every time you fail, you gain information. You learn what to fix, what to improve, and what to avoid next time. But if you quit, you waste the lesson. That's why some people keep repeating the same mistakes year after year. Not because they're incapable, but because they refuse to learn and adjust. Failure will test your belief in yourself. It will make you question your calling, your abilities, and even your faith. That's when you have to decide whether you're going to listen to doubt or stand on purpose. Because purpose doesn't disappear just because you had a bad season. Let me tell you something else. People will remind you of your failures. They'll bring them up when you start trying again. They'll say, "Didn't you already try that?" Yes, you did. And you survived it, which means you're stronger now than you were before. Their doubt doesn't disqualify you. Your quitting would. You don't fail your way out of success. You fail your way into it. Each failure is a stepping stone, not a stopping point. As long as you get back up, failure loses its power. The moment you decide to keep going, failure becomes part of your testimony instead of the end of your story. Success isn't built by people who never fall. It's built by people who refuse to stay down. Let me tell you something about the gift you were given, because too many people are walking around this world underestimating what's already inside them. God gave every single person a gift. Not the same gift, not equal gifts, but a gift that fits who you are and what you were created to do. And here's the truth: most people don't like hearing God gives the gift, but He does not do the work for you. That part is on you. A gift is just potential. It's raw ability. It's something that comes naturally to you that other people have to struggle with. But potential alone won't change your life. Potential ignored becomes frustration. Potential wasted becomes regret. And the saddest thing in the world is not failure. It's unused ability. Some of you already know what your gift is. You've known it since you were a child. But life happened. Responsibility happened. Fear happened. People talked you out of it. They told you it wasn't practical, it wouldn't pay, it wasn't realistic. And little by little, you put your gift on the shelf. But let me tell you something, the gift didn't leave you. You left the gift. Your gift will make room for you, but only if you work it. A gift that isn't developed will never introduce you to the places you're meant to go. You have to practice it, study it, sharpen it, and protect it. Nobody owes you belief in your gift. Nobody owes you support. Your job is to be so committed to it that even when nobody's watching, you're still working. A lot of people are waiting on permission to pursue what God already approved. You keep asking people what they think, and they don't even know what you're capable of. People can only see you at the level they met you. They don't know the vision God showed you in private. That's why you can't let outside opinions override an inside calling. Using your gift requires sacrifice. You're going to have to give up time, comfort, and sometimes relationships. Everybody can't go where you're going. Everybody can't understand the hunger you feel, and that's okay. Isolation is often preparation. God will separate you so He can elevate you. Your gift is not just for you. It's tied to other people's lives. Somebody needs what you carry. Somebody's waiting on the solution that comes naturally to you. When you don't use your gift, it's not just you who suffers. The world misses out on what you were meant to contribute. You might be scared to start because you don't feel ready. Let me help you with that. Nobody ever feels ready. Readiness comes from doing. Confidence comes from repetition. Mastery comes from consistency. You don't wake up great, you work your way there. Let me say this clearly, you are responsible for what you do with what God gave you. You can't blame your parents, your past, your environment, or your age. If God woke you up today, there is still time. Time to start, time to rebuild, time to commit fully. One day you will have to answer for what you did with your gift. Not how many excuses you had, not how many times you were afraid, but whether you tried. Don't let fear, comfort, or procrastination rob you of your purpose. The gift is already there. The opportunity is waiting. The responsibility is yours.